Let's talk about how we're going to approach the design of this ring. First, we will have a gemstone, make a bezel, add a shank, and add the 3 bumps. Take the photograph of the gemstone in 3 different positions: top, side, and front view. We will import that and then extract the girdle curve of the gemstone. With this girdle curve, we will use it as a reference point to make the bezel. Once we have the bezel set and in right position, we'll make a shank that's tapered from large to small and set that into the algorithm. The final step will be to make one of these bumps, size it and scale it down for the other 2 bumps, and then mirror it to the opposite side. So break it down again. 4 steps. Gemstone girdle curve, bezel, shank, 3 bumps. Thank you. Step 1 is to find the girdle curve of the gemstone that we're going to use to make a bezel for. First, we import the top view to the top view, the side view to the side view tab, the front view to the front view tab. We're going to import the Grasshopper 3-view photo orient, and you'll find that under orient over here under 3-view. You'll drag and drop it. Please watch the 3-view orient video. It'll explain exactly how to set this up. We're not going to go into that great detail here. But the first thing you would do is open up the gem mesh cutter, right? That is found under gemstones, gem mesh cutter. It's a list of all the gem meshes. In our case, it's a cushion. We type down the measurements of the actual stone. This then gives us a gem mesh that we're going to use as a reference for the size. We're not going to use the gemstone, this girdle curve, unless it's accurate to the gemstone girdle curve that we have for the stone we're going to set. In this particular case, we got fortunate. We're going to turn the crosshairs on. We're going to go to the top view, and we're going to then, let's turn off this top view gem. We have the top view in here and aligned. There's the gemstone. There's the photo of the top view, and we can see that the gemstone is aligned correctly and that the girdle curve is pretty close to exact. You can see as I move it, the gemstone in the background. Okay, so we can use the gemstone girdle curve from the gem mesh cutter, which is this girdle curve. Let's hide this. It's this girdle curve right here because it approximates the gem that we're going to use. So the gem we're going to use is cut pretty good in comparison to the girdle curve that our gem mesh cutter has produced. So this now becomes the actual girdle curve we're going to use to make the bezel in step 2. Let's make a custom bezel for this gemstone. So what we need to do is we have the photo of the gemstone to scale. We can see the underbelly of the gemstone. We're going to make a profile curve through here, and let's do it similar to this for this gemstone. We would use the go to standard, go to draw curves, and we would draw a curve. In this particular case, each of these units is 1/10 of a millimeter, so we have approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 millimeters across the top. We extend past the bottom of the gemstone. In this particular case, this ring is being made so the gemstone touches the finger, so we're going to cut this off after. So once we have the profile curve done, we can go to Algo Jewels, and we're going to go to Settings, and we're going to go to Bezel Settings. Bring it in here. This creates the bezel setting. Right now we're going to disconnect. We already have the gem mesh cutter here with the actual measurements. So we're going to pull this apart and disconnect it and connect the gem mesh, and we're going to connect the actual girdle curve. No, we're going to set the offset, use the offset girdle curve because this girdle is perfect, and we're going to offset it by 0.05. So when we actually have the offset, it'll be by 0.1 millimeter, right, allowing the gemstone to fit nicely into the bezel. We're going to bring that in here. We're going to delete this, bring this back down, and bring this in here. Okay. I'm going to group this. Now, what we need to do is bring this bezel profile curve. We're going to use a custom profile curve instead of the smooth bezel that you have here right now. You can pick different ones, and they may or may not work. For it. And what we need to do in this particular case is we're going to input this curve and save it. So we're going to go to parameters. We're going to go to we're going to use the curve component, bring it here. We're going to touch this, left click, set one curve. We're going to title left click and put custom bezel profile curve, and we're going to paint it there. Now we're going to add this to this group, and we're going to connect it to the custom profile. Now we're going to pick custom profile, and there we go. We have our bezel created for the gemstone. We have a ring circle here. Right now it's set at size 7. We're going to change this to a man size 9 in the next step. But this now creates this custom for the gemstone that we have. We can adjust it later. We're going to internalize this so that when we save this, we save the profile curve for future use. If you don't internalize the data, when you close down Grasshopper, this curve will disappear, and you will have to redraw it again or pull it out from the original 3DM file. Now let's add a ring shank, step 3. First, we are going to close off all of the photos down here. We can do that by right-clicking, dragging, left clicking, preview, left, actually go like this, right click, let's disable that. Okay, we can hide these. This is the offset girdle curve. And we can hide this. And we're going to go to the ring shank and close that down. Okay. Now we have the gemstone in the position. Now we're going to go to Algo Jewels and we're going to pick a shank. In this particular case, I'm going to taper it from wide at the top to thin at the bottom, and I like the Ryan ring shank. I'm going to bring this, drag it, and drop it onto the screen. Okay, there's the Ryan ring shank. Add to this group. Okay. Now over here we have orient to ring top. It's a size 7. It says ring circle there. The first thing we're going to do with the ring shank is pick the size. We want a 9.5 in this size. We have the ring circle here. We're going to drag and drop it into the bezel. This moves the bezel in accordance to the ring circle. Every time the ring size changes, the bezel will go with it. We can go in here under the orient to ring surface and raise it up a bit. Right about there. Looks good. So now we have a bezel ring. If you recall, we were going to cut it because it's going to touch, the stone's going to touch the finger. Now we're going to come back to the Ryan ring shank. We have the ring size there. We're going to go to the first universal actually, we're going to go down to ring shank setup, and we're going to open it up a little bit more to bring the inner part of the ring where it intersects the bezel in slightly. Actually, we're going, yeah, about there should be fine because we're going to add the bumps in here. Now, these are profile curves are all done around this ring shank from top to bottom. We can go with the top, thick X. It doesn't really matter because we're going to add on here. This is going to be a man's ring, so let's go 4 millimeters, which is fine. 3 millimeters tall. We're going to make the bump outs a little bit bigger. Now we go down to the next one. Let's make it 4 millimeters. This is the thickness at this point, 1.6 millimeters. 1.6 millimeters is very good. Next one down, 4 millimeters. And it says 3.9, so we're about here. We want this to be rounded in. Let's go 1.6 millimeters because it's a man's ring. Okay, then we're going to get down to the last profile, which is 4 millimeters, and we're going to make it 1.6 millimeters. There's the ring shank for a man. It's going to get thicker at the top here when we add the bump outs in step 4. That looks pretty good. The final step 4. Make 3 barrel-shaped bump outs, align them to the top of the ring, and mirror them to the opposite side. We'll start with the barrel-shaped profile in the curves. You will see it appear in the X, Y plane. We'll start by making it 5 millimeters wide by 4 millimeters tall, and we're going to round the corners. We're going to move it to the center. We're going to create a surface, and we're going to extrude that surface in the Z direction. Now we're going to 1.1 make it a little bit thicker so we can adjust the thickness. Group these together. Rename this. There's the profile curve, there's the surface, there's the bump. So the next thing we need to do is bring it to the position. To do that, we go back to Algo Jewels, we go back to Orient, and we go to Orient to Ring Top. Bring it to the profile. To start, we need to have the ring circle, so we have it to the right ring size. So we go back to the ring circle, draw it down, we need geometry to orient. Now, there's the location of the geometry, and you will probably wonder where it went. You can see it right there. The outline is right there. Let's move it in the X direction. Okay, there we go. We're bringing it out. It's wide enough. We don't need to see this. So what we have is the geometry there. Let's make it this the third piece, or actually let's make this the first piece. So we're going to go, instead of 5 millimeters, we're going to step it from 7, 6 to 5. 7. And we're going to rotate it. No. $60 degrees. And we're going to bring it down and over. Let's adjust the rotation a little bit more. And over. Okay, there's the first bump. We can now mirror that. To the opposite side. Now, what we can do is change the location and scale it down, or we can group this together and we can copy and paste it, copy and paste it, because there's the first one, there's the second one, there's the third one. And we can make this one 6 millimeters. Bring it out, bring it down, bring it out, bring it down. We can make it a little bit thinner. We can make it a little bit. Now the fourth one, we're going to make 5 millimeters. And we're going to I'm just going to keep adjusting it until we find what we're happy with. Oh, that looks pretty good. Now we can add color. Metal color. We can merge. So what we want is the individual locations. And then we're going to turn off the geometry color. There we have it. Now we can save that. We can check it against our photo. And it looks pretty good. What'll happen is these bumps in here will be filed out or cut out in the final process to give it that smooth look. But you have to remember, this is producing a wax that's going to be ended up filing, so these can be rounded a little bit more. These will be polished round as you finish them. So you got to leave a bit of metal in there for the final polish. You can make a beautiful rendering if you want, and then change things around. I'm going to make this one here a little bit thicker so this gap here doesn't appear. So I can go in here and make it a little bit thicker so it comes into the ring. You see how easy it is to change things? This way there won't be a gap here when we produce the wax and cast it so it gets lost. Right, you can see it intersect a little there. We can change this, edit this, bring it down to 2 if you want. No, we still want. Actually, I can move it slightly. 2 into the there we go. How does that look? Oh, we got a gap here. So let's go down here and make this one. Okay. Looks pretty good. Now, if this is all set up correctly, we should be able to change the ring size. And everything moves with it. So now you have a fully parametric ring where each of these bumps can be changed in size, shape, whatever you would like, because they're based off this profile curve here. And you can make these steps different sizes and different shapes if you'd like as well. Now that we have the design done, let's move everything over and bake it into Rhino so that we can do some final work with it. We're going to come over here to the gemstone and bake it. We're going to call it the main stone. And as you bake it, you see in Rhino they appear. We're going to take the bezel and bake it. And we're going to put it as the head. And then we're going to come down to the ring shank and bake it into the shank. And we're going to bake the bump outs into the shank as well. We're also going to grab up here on the ring size. We're going to come over here and we're going to grab the ring cylinder and bake it to the ring circle cutter. Okay, now we can close. Save this file, new. Everything is in Rhino. Now what we can do is select this, go here, copy objects to layer. Now we're going to shut off the shank, shut off the head, shut off the stone, shut off the cutter. So everything in here, this way we can do the Boolean difference. We're going to subtract from these with this, and we're going to Boolean difference this, and delete that. And there we go, we have the ring ready. Now let's take a look in the front here, and let's go to wireframe. Perfect, the gemstone just touches down. What we can do is adjust this, delete this, go back to the main head, touch this, copy to object layer, take the head, stretch it a bit, take this, move it up a little, take this, move it up a little, and then do a Boolean difference again. And hide that. Now we have the stone in the right position. We can delete the stone. We can grab all of them, Boolean union them together. Now we have a finished ring. What we're going to do is bring the geometry, set one geometry. By doing that, we bring in the geometry finish. We go to algo joules. We're going to go to gram, weight, calculate, estimator. Bring this in. It goes to Kitco, finds the price in Canadian dollars. If you're in America, you can change this to US dollars as well. And what we need to do is just enter the geometry here, and we get an estimate of the ring. We can change everything. Where it is here. Ring example 1/2025. Okay, so now we have this as a ring example. We can change the date if we want. We got the date here. Today's date is October 19, 2025. We can code it so that your customer doesn't see the price of the rough casting cost and code. And there's the code word. You can pick the code word from 360 different texts if you would like. There you go. Thank you for watching.